Welcome back to the show. SPL relegations end now with North Americans Rambozos. I think the reincarnation of the Randozos, the reincarnation of the Rambozos. The rebirth. Going up against Problem Solved.
Randozos and Problem Solved. I mean, Randozos has Meerkat, who was kicked off Problem Solved.
Right.
And
I mean, I don't even like the term kicked off.
Yeah,
because
I mean,
it's like, dude, Baskin.
Yeah, it's Baskin.
Right?
When you have Anster willingly say this is actually like the best player in North America, it's like, I'm sorry, Meerkat, like, you just gotta hold that.
Yeah, for real. Like, Meerkat's gotten a lot better.
Yeah,
from where
he's,
he was
he's
in
actually
season 1.
amazing. Like, even if if Baskin wasn't on Problem Solve, right? If Meerkat was still on that team, they would still probably be a top 3 North
I'd still
American
think
team.
they would have beaten Flex not the way that they did, but close to it.
Yes, of course.
But Baskin, right? But
Baskin.
Look, Baskin's coming up, has to fight against Meerkat.
Yeah.
I wonder how that's gonna go.
I mean, well, here's the thing. Meerkat is 80 carry. Last I checked, he's 80 carry.
What?
Yes, that's a thing. I don't know why it's a thing.
Hello?
But because they have Scary D. Scary D's a soul laner. And
That's arguable.
I mean, I don't know. But, like, Scary D's solo, and they have Meerkat in the 80 carry position. And last I checked, Meerkat can play an 80 carry.
Winner gets a spot in the Smite Pro League. I'm excited for this. Problem Solved showed a little bit of weakness last week, strangely dropping games to a team that had no business getting as close as they did. If Problem Solved continues that negative trend, it's possible the Randozos can find themselves in the Smite Pro League. We'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't laugh at Problem Solved. I mean, not Problem Solved, but Randozos. They're a really strong team.
You should laugh at the Rambozos. They were clowns.
The
Randozos are very serious.
Yeah, super serious clowns.
Very serious. P's and B's. Randozos on the left, Problem Solved on the right. First pick to the clowns. Let's see how it goes.
Now, I'd like to see an Isis ban immediately off the bat. Well, I like the Khepri too. I think Khepri is like going to be a very static ban going into Season 3. But I want to see an Isis ban in these. I just don't want Isis to be a part of... I think Hurriwind's Isis is amazing.
Soul going to be taken away. Every time I see a Soul ban, I feel like teams aren't doing their homework.
Well, Soul, especially with the nerfs and the way the early game is right now, like, you can deal with Soul, like, early game, right? Like, you can abuse her. So I'm not too... Maybe they just don't want to deal with it. Maybe it's, like, too much of a nuisance by mid-game. As Kronos is banned, and there's the Isis. Lots of mages being banned here.
All three top junglers in my eyes, Thor, Kali, Kuang, all still available as well. We do have a lot of supports, as you see. Athena getting taken away. Problem Solved likely to counter with Geb.
Yes, pretty much Geb is kind of like the answer back to an Athena pick, and you don't really see too many flex Athena picks anymore. I'm not too sure why. Probably because Athena in the soul lane and jungle doesn't really have too much early game value in an early game meta. So Janus being picked up by Problem Solved and the Hurriwind's Janus. It's amazing.
I like Athena in solo. I don't like her in jungle anymore. I feel like she's not bringing enough to those mid-fights. You need a little bit more damage than she brings. But I still think there is potential, but I think that's going to be taken away as Bellona gets locked in. Randozos have option for Chiron as well if they'd like.
This is 3.3, by the way, so Robin was nerfed. Probably factoring in why we haven't seen him yet, as Neith is locked in. Lots of global presence coming out of the dual lane right now. And Problem Solve has their last pick before the next banning phase. I'd imagine, yeah, it'd be the Geb. I think that's very safe.
It has to be Geb.
Yeah.
I mean, they could let it go, get it banned, and then go to Ymir. It's a possibility. Ares does very well against Neith as well. Kuang, a character that has been strangely missing from these matches.
Well, yeah, and I actually like this now that they did pick Kuang. So I guess they're not going to go with the Geb maybe for more an aggressive laning phase. They probably want to destroy the global lane coming out of Randozos.
So you say Kuang. Everyone's dogging on you for saying Kuang, even though everyone else says Kuang. But no one ever yells at me for saying Janus instead of Janus.
Really?
Yeah, I say Janus every time. It's just Janus to me, just like it's Kuang to you.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I never get yelled at. And every time you say Kuang, there's like 7 Reddit threads and 9 Twitter posts. It's like, he doesn't know the names of the gods.
Well, I don't know. Reddit doesn't like me anyway, so I'm down. Like, whatever.
Good bands. Good bands. Kali
just
Thor.
Take out junglers. Yeah,
Kali
I like
Thor.
it. I like it, too, because they really want to make sure that, you know, this pick can get out early game. Let's get the Dragon to mid to late game where he can one-shot people. I like that. And the Osiris ban, I respect that. And the Geb ban, which is also what I respect. Don't want to deal with the Geb shields. You want to make sure your Athena taunts can mean something.
Little bit of flex here. Guan, you can be support or could wind up being solo. It's more likely going to be solo.
I like that you called that out, too, because a lot of people forget that Kuang is Magical Jungler. That's a very, like, it's one of the very few, in fact, the only real, like,
Freya
viable
could
Magical
do
Jungler.
it. Come on, believe.
I mean, yeah. I just, really, like, when you think of, like, top junglers and you think of Kuang, it's like, he's the only one, really. And
Whoa,
Guan, you
whoa.
can go anywhere.
Serqet.
I like this.
One of the lowest win rates in Conquest Ranked. A character that's not often seen anymore. Very strange to see this picked up, especially for the Randozos. But I don't mind the pick considering the fact that Neith and Bellona and Athena have really good setups for this character. She has a lot of control behind her to be safe. Agni can help out with that as well.
Yeah.
My issue is, who is she trying to kill?
I think it's going to be any, like, can kill the Kuang, can kill the Hui, can kill the Janus, right? You just have to get them separated from the team. But with the setup coming out of Randos, I mean, Agni stun, Neith ult, Bellona ult, Athena taunt. Like, there's so much setup and CC. Like, the Serqet pick should be okay to get out of at least the early game into a healthy mid to late game.
Final pick for problem solved. They're looking at that flex, either support or solo. Find out in just a second. They could use either form of damage, and it's going to be Ami.
And like you said, this is a Guan Yu support, which I think is very strong, believe it or not. Especially if you have the magic damage to support the Guan Yu support, I think it's amazing.
And Jigz actually has a really, really good Guan.
I mean, he's just a talented support player in general.
He really is.
Yeah.
One of the most slept-on players worldwide. I mean, the guy plays and has almost always played at an SPL level. His coaching is very good. He's always slept on. I don't know why.
Well, yeah, so
it's probably the Z in his name.
For people that weren't around for Season 2 of SPL, Jigz was TSM's coach.
Yeah.
So, like, he was very involved, which is why people were wondering, like, where did Jigz come from?
Even before that, he was playing support for someone.
He's been, I'm not too sure.
And then he left that team to be a coach.
Yeah, so it looks like he's chosen the coach life, and now he has come back into the support life. Shouts to Jeff.
This is basically the North American version of Leftovers, to me.
Yeah.
This is all the people that were left over, and they made a team. And it's a good team. Granted, Baskin, I mean, that's not really super fair, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't really left over. He had to choose this.
Well, he willingly made the choice, and that's a big choice. Hey, I don't want to team with you, Anistor. I'm going to team with friends. I wouldn't have done that, but yeah, I do like, so we have a triple camp start coming out of both teams.
I like the way that we started here with Aduro doing the dash through, but there was 2 auto attacks that he could have thrown. PolarBearMike would have been a little bit faster on the rotation. PolarBear, I would say, probably lost about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds here, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but on the top side, that's a Guan Yu, right? You need to keep that pressure on as early as Aduro. Jeez, oh my God.
A little bit of poke coming out on Aduro, and I like what you mean. Early game lane pressure is huge. Even lanes that have no business of winning the pressure in the dual lane could win just out of who can clear the jungle camps more efficiently.
Neither solo jungle combination, by the way, went for the right camp contest, ensuring that left side is going to be traded with right side. Not a great start, I would say, probably for Scary D. I mean, there was really no reason for Bellona not to take that fight in. Granted, it's out Kuang, but I mean, that's also a Serqet, and that's Garz.
Yeah. And really, I don't know, Scary D didn't seem like he wanted to capitalize
this
on
roster is like really good.
Well, it seems like maybe they don't have the personality, but they're all like at one point or another, a lot of these players were hailed as great ranked players or like great SPL level players.
I mean, Garz was literally the best player in the world for like 3 months.
Yes.
Meerkat, always considered pretty good. PolarBearMike, I don't want to use the word carried, but definitely carried his own weight at least on the Eager squad. Amazing. The only question I have here is Scary D. I feel like he has always been kind of close to that SPL level despite playing in it, and comparatively to what is arguably the best, if not second best solo laner in the world with Baskin, I think Scary D's going to have some trouble here, especially, I mean, look at that health compared to Ami. How is Ami losing this lane?
Yeah.
Or winning this lane, rather.
Yeah, it looks like Scary's getting a little poked out here. And really, that's the big question, is Scary's always been, like, right there in terms of showing that he's a top soul lane SPL contender, right? Like, he can, you know, fight and brawl amongst the big boys, but can he actually do it? And also, Meerkat on 80 carry, which, I mean, this is kind of expected. This isn't really his kind of native role. He's on the back foot here a little bit, and it looks like he's going for more of a support style role with the Neith Athena. By level 5, I want to see these guys have a lot of global presence to kind of put problem solve on the back foot here, but they do take boars on the first rotation. Great presence out of Homiefe. He didn't even get the experience there, but the fact that he was there meant that they could not even take the fight as long as their communication was well.
I'm looking at this endgame comp right now for problem solved. Oh, also Scary D getting completely worked by Amaterasu, which is very, very strange.
I mean, that's unheard of, right?
Yeah, this is not a matchup that he should be winning so freely. But I'm looking at the endgame potential here of Kuang, Amaterasu, Guan Yu. Just those three. The movement speed increase coming out from Baskin, the constant healing coming out from Guan Yu to allow this Kuang to get to the back line when he needs to and pick off those major targets. This is trouble for Randozos. Garz has about, I would say, 13 or 14 more minutes of safety, and then when those roaming characters start, he's not going to have that same Serqet pressure. He needs to be much more aggressive and much more quickly.
If I were on the Randozos, I'm definitely looking for pressure on Hurriwind or on Baskin. Really just putting the pressure on making sure they fall a little bit behind, because once it's team fight time, once you start grouping up for these objectives, it's like the initiation's out of control.
So your analysis is that you should spend all your time trying to chase down Janus?
At least early game,
right?
before he gets too fast.
But that's the comp, right? That's what
crazy.
Problem Solve has done. They have drafted an incredible comp. Their early game is very safe. It has a lot of. It still can provide a lot of pressure on a defensive route, forcing people to fight into fights they don't really want. And then end game, unless there's like some janky 4-man taunt, like they're gonna get just destroyed.
Yeah, I mean that's so far what it's looking like. 4 minutes in the game. And it looks like everything's just about even. Everyone's just kind of farming out. We did see Scary D getting kind of poked out by Baskin, but he does have a experience advantage. But yeah, it looks like everyone's just kind of evenly farming.
It looks like that's coming from the Boars. On the right side, Scary D has been very adamant about taking that camp, whereas Baskin recognizing that at level 6, level 7, Amaterasu not going to be as quick as Bellona's with Bludgeon. He's kind of taking a back seat. Oh, he's going for damage. He's going for damage again. Making sure to hit this. He got it. Decent damage. Scary D's mana is pretty good, and I like the fact that he stood there and boxed. He didn't back up.
Defensive ult there out of...
I think that wasn't a defensive ult. I think that was an offensive ult, and he just took too much damage and had to run.
Yeah, he probably didn't realize that, well, because he didn't actively try to clear the wave there, I'm going to defensively ult here and just kind of sustain and go from there. But Baskin, I mean, Scary D, if he really wanted to, he could, like, come back and look for the fight, because that's an ult down. He could Bellona ult right on top of that if he wanted to actually take that.
But Baskin, very smart, recognizes there's no teleport. Garz was visible on the map. He knows where the mid is. He knows where the support is. So he sticks in the lane, pushes a wave to ensure maximum exposure to experience, then takes his back. And honestly, it's working out for him. Although we'll note there's a pretty big gold difference. Scary D's got like 400 over him.
Yeah, I mean, the fire minions and also taking boars, he seems to be farming a little bit more efficiently, but that's also the downfall of Amaterasu. It's just the fact that she has such a hard time dealing with these early game blunders. The fact that the clear takes too long, it's awkward. And the best thing on Baskin's kit is the fact that he can silence the bludgeon, but that's all he's got going for him.
And it doesn't help him all that much. Most of Bellona's clear doesn't even come from the slam. It comes from the auto attacks in the early game.
Exactly. 3-man grouping mid lane. Nothing really happening. No aggressive taunts, or actually the Athena's not even there yet, just getting there. Maybe some aggressive taunts coming out soon out of PolarBearMike. He's usually the one, out of this team comp, he's going to want to be the one to at least initiate, as we do have Hurriwind and Jigz kind of stepping up in Randozos' territory.
Right side, Scary D, protecting his boars. I think Baskin might have gotten one of those.
Not too sure.
Surprised Baskin's not going to take this fight, given the fact that he has such a innate heal inside of his kit. He's waiting for the mirror, it looks like. It's going to get activated. Misses the silence. Bludgeon's going to clear out most. Baskin's going to take the mirror to the wave to try to match the clear of Scary D.
I like how he misses the dash to silence the bludgeon, and instead of going for like maybe the trade or some kind of poke, I'm just gonna clear the wave and back up here.
Smart. It was a good audible. Jigz in some trouble here. Stun combination, no healing available. Dash through, should be able to get out. No, one shot from the back of Duro all the way down. Garz credited with first blood as the ultimate connects. Homiefe forced to escape, left to the dogs as Hurriwind escapes. Garz going deep, not going to find a turnaround for the beads, and that should wash the fight out. First blood to the clouds, no! Metyankey's going to dive in. He's forced the beads, trying to get away. Hurriwind finds a return kill. Scary D cleaning it up, and it's going to be a 2-for-1.
Crazy fight in favor of the Randozos. We do have some aggression. Baskin looking to put the bruise on Scary D, but He's going to safely back out there. And like I was saying before, the key to a lot of these fights is going to be the Athena taunts. PolarBearMike with a great taunt, blowing up Jigz, especially with Jigz, no defensive items early, a quick Serqet ult and an Agni bomb, and he's out of the fight immediately.
I mean, I love the CC chain.
Yes.
Just the timing of it. As soon as that Athena taunt was done, he was getting hit by Agni. As soon as the Agni stun was done, you know, there comes Garz jumping on the head, making sure he's going to take no healing. He's going to take that dot damage with true damage, and Aduro raining that 3 from the back line, just ensuring the kill. Just really great teamwork. Garz getting a little bit aggressive, though, as he dove to the back line. I don't know if I would have went that hard.
Yeah. I think he was looking for a play, but at the same time, Metyankey, he jumped in the 3
that
people.
That was some crazy nonsense. But I think the important thing to see here is that Garz jumping into that scenario that really wasn't in his favor, looking at it from an analysis standpoint, I think any player could look at that and no matter who it was, think to themselves, probably wasn't a great idea.
Yeah,
except that it's Garz.
Yes.
Right? It's not because whether he could or could not get the kill, because Season 2, Split 1 Garz would have done that exactly the way that he did it. Split 3 Garz wouldn't have jumped in. This shows to me he's having more fun, he's more confident, and this might be the player that we've looked to for so many months now as one of the best players in the world, years even.
Well, yeah, I mean, Garz really had his shining moments, and he was hailed as one of the best junglers in Season 2. Even I acknowledged, I was like, Garz, we're probably going to have a hard time. He's a monster in the jungle, so especially with a new surrounding, new teammates, maybe a new attitude, Garz could really be the key player to make the Randozos do a lot of work this game. 9 minutes in, it's 2-1. And really, Garz trying to get the Jotuns online. I want to see him make another play with the help of PolarBearMike. Maybe get some taunts in, because that was a beautiful combo. If they can repeat that like 2 more times, they can set themselves up for some free Gold Furies.
The meditation online, it looks like for Jigz, health and mana across the board. And it will work very well with the Jigz build. As you can see, the Wing Blade has been started up. As for boots, do you think that we're going to see Warrior Tabby or Reinforced?
Out of Jigz, I don't even, like, if they were going to get boots, it would probably be maybe a Reinforced Greaves for CCR, or he could just go for Warrior Tabby. Reinforced Greaves are slept on, but I know for a fact that Jigz would get it in these kind of situations when so much CC is on the field. The CCR can be valued, but it's not like a top priority. But if I had to take a safe guess, probably Warrior Tabby.
We've talked a lot about Garz. Let's go across the board here and just touch a little bit on Homiefe. Younger player, still, I wouldn't say new to the scene, but as a professional name, not quite the same star power as Garz has.
He's been a ranked all-star for a while now.
Forever.
Yes. And
him and Bickham, in my eyes, are the same person. Or they were for a long time.
Yeah, not quite like hitting the mark right there, you know, out of SPL stardom. And now Homiefe can show that he's one of the best junglers. I think he has improved a lot. His mentality's gotten a lot more mature over the past year. Like, he's really grown up in kind of like the Smite rankings, and it shows. He's making a lot of key decision makings and making a lot of good calls for his team.
Michael forcing beads out. Damage from Aduro as well, and PolarBearMike should be fine. Good damage from Garz. Wow, they're really committing to this. Scary D probably doesn't want an extended engagement here. You'll notice his mana is pretty low, so most of the blue squad's going to force away. Garz to keep this one honest. Baskin goes for the silence. A lot of damage coming through. Trouble able to jump out of it. You know he's mad about that one.
Yeah, and Homiefe is actually going to go down for that one. Scaredy picks up that kill. Great two-man tonk coming out of PolarBearMike, and it looks like just the slugfest. We do see some poke, but disengage out of both teams, it looks like, as Baskin actually dashes in.
That really should have been a kill for Homiefe. There is a very small amount of time where if you jump as Kuang's ult is activated, it will not only stop you from being executed, but will actually use the cooldown as well. Homiefe expected to go to the sky, instead winds up going home in a box. Jigz on the defensive here. Scaredy going in deep. Full mana this time off the teleport. Metyankey not in a great spot. Hurriwind keeping him honest. Damage coming through. Jigz locking Scary D down. Stun's going to go off. Baskin finds one in the back. And Metyanky's going to find one in the front.
Yeah, it looks like they were trying to pressure down problem solve, but they're going to get that turned around. Randozos, Garz is in by himself. There's the Serqet ult. Jigz cannot heal, but Garz immediately falls to Baskin's Heavenly Reflection. And, oh, almost the triple bounce there. A little cheeky. PolarBearMike forced to defend, as it looks like Problem Solve going to go for the first Gold Fury of the game.
Winds up being a 3-for-1 trade, including the very early kill on the Homiefe. It doesn't look like anyone on the side of the Randozos will be able to contest this one. a quick gold fury as Problem Solve will take the first real lead of the game. 2,100 gold and 3,100 experience on the back.
And really the big problem with that fight was the fact that Randozos had a good engagement. They had the better end, and they overextended. They chased down mid lane. Scaredy took way too much damage with Mark of the Crows being active on him. Took a Hui ult and a Guan ult to the face. And meanwhile, Baskin decided it was the great opportunity to 1v1 and tower dive Meerkat, which really, like, Meerkat died, Scaredy died, and they realized they had the better hand of that fight again, and Problem Solve won for the Gold Fury.
Really, you can't be messing with Amaterasu in a 1v1 scenario. She has insane healing, she has movement speed, she has great damage between her 1 and her 2, she has a silence, and then one of the best chase ults in the game right now. Meerkat in a lot of trouble, way out of position here. Hopefully Mike doesn't get down, and if he does, he better have the control. And no, Meerkat right down. PolarBearMike going to be stuck over here. He should be careful.
Grabs him mid-air. Mid-air, mid-backflip, that's insane. And yeah, Meerkat overextending and was able to get taken out by that gank. And it really was, I like what Metyankey did there. He jumped in, didn't immediately ricochet, waited for his teammates to be in position, and was waiting for the reactive Neith backflip. Most people would backflip. Meerkat decided not to and try to set up an opportunity for him to get away, but Metyankey with great patience was able to ricochet him down for his teammates to clean up.
Both warriors continue the slap fight, healing between the Scourge and, of course, the movement. And great silence there. Scary D's going to commit pretty heavily to these creeps. He'll take about 30% of his health as a result of just going for that wave. Baskin, however, it looks like will let him back for free. 30 seconds on the teleport puts Scary D in a pretty weird predicament. He's going to have to allow these creeps into the tower or put himself at major risk. No, Baskin's going to let the tower pressure go to look towards the jungle. Find that there are no boars and once again continue the fight.
Yeah, Scary is getting kind of pressured out here. He's at half health. There's the ult just to dive. He might actually be able to kill. No, there's the Bellona ult in place. Scary in such a tight spot. The tower dive is there. Oh, we do have Kuang coming in, and he didn't even need to ult there. Not that he had it. Takes out Scary and able to safely back up.
They actually burned the World Weaver as well.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's the power of just Amy. I mean, she did so much damage that was able to bruise him out, force his ult in place, and Scary D got completely manhandled there.
Jigz showing his ability to twirl a stick very fast, very impressive.
Shoutouts.
So 20% CDR coming out from Breastplate, and another 20% it looks like is going to be coming from Ami as she builds into Jotun's Wrath. How do you like the full cooldown build?
I haven't really seen this too much, but it makes sense considering that you want to be able to spam her abilities nonstop.
Her one, yeah.
Yeah, and you want to be able to stand, switch, and the movement. AoE team movement speed, I like that. I think it's perfect, especially in a game all about skill shots. Being able for all 5 of your teammates to avoid skill shots because of their movement speed is great. So I like this call, especially knowing that he has the upper hand in the laning phase. He's not going to really get pressured too much by the jungler. Garz hasn't done too much, right?
Speaking of Garz, he just took his back at level 13 to pick up his second relic, and it's not going to be Blink, it's going to be Sanctuary.
I mean, I don't like it. Maybe he feels he's getting pressured a little bit too much here, but I like Blink on Serqet.
So I think he's not looking for combo damage anymore. I think he's going to go taunt, ultimate, auto attack, and then out, using an ambush to try to get in, and that's going to be stolen. Hurriwind able to grab that. I would have liked to see Jigz pick that up on his way. Oh, no, it wasn't stolen. Excuse me. How did they not steal that?
It looked like PolarBearMike with a great taunt maybe, but you were saying about Garz, I think it's going to be definitely a defensive, more peel.
You say that as he builds into crit, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe he's just going to pick his fights carefully and look to blow up whoever were to come in, like maybe Baskin or Jigz, as we do have another 1v1 attempt. Metyankey really just dashing in. There's Homiefe looking for the ult. But Meerkat isn't low enough. Great Athena ult coming up.
Oh my, Spirit Gun cross map. Garz had such a good line to it, and Hurriwind just out of nowhere shuts it down. Homiefe throws him up, not enough for the kill. He gets low and the poison spreads to Jigz. No healing there, but it won't be enough damage to deter the boys in red. They have 3 people still on the left side looking for the pressure. Meerkat down, and Duro trying to clear this out. Oh, wow.
That's so aggressive. Hurricand's actually completely out of position. Great Sanctuary.
Wait, no.
And the healing coming out of Jigz. Jigz able to actually support his teammate for his aggressive play.
What year is it going to be before the casters stop being surprised by Janus getting out of ridiculous nonsense?
Yeah. Probably
2018?
Never. I mean, any other mage would have died.
Any other character would have died.
Yeah.
Hercules is sitting somewhere with full build and his 3 active. He's like, nah, man, it's too much damage.
There's too much. So, but yeah, I also liked Jigz was able to heal him out of trouble there and help our young Janus get out of bad situation. So PolarBearMike holding the way for Meerkat, who's coming up from his death before. And yeah, I don't know, it looks like both teams are resetting. Goal Fury is available. 17 minutes in the game, 4-7 in favor of Problem Solved.
Not to mention that early Gold Fury as well. They find themselves still in the lead, in fact, extending it to about 3,600 gold, 7,200 experience. And a lot of that, I think, has to do with the way that Baskin has been playing in team fights versus Scary D. We've seen a few decent ults, but a lot of what Scary D's been doing is defensive. Baskin has been very, very offensive in this matchup, and Garz has been, again, very offensive, but it seems like he's doing it alone.
Yeah, it doesn't really have too many, like, I would like to see a little bit more PolarBearMike taunts. I want to see a little bit more aggressive, maybe even some Agni stuns. We do a weak taunt there, kind of like a reactive taunt, like, hey, I'm getting poked, but nothing like a true aggressive taunt to set the pace of the game. And that's really, like, if you are on the Randozos right now, you want to set the pace of the game, look for a good team fight, especially when you have a losing lane in duo and you have a losing lane in solo.
Meerkat, you're done, buddy. Meerkat not having the same, I think, success on the roll swap to ADC as Metyankey has really come in to himself over the last 2 weeks.
I mean, I'd say about a week or two ago, he was a solo lane main and has had about a week or two to adjust to a new role and is being shown that he's not really quite adjusted yet. Scary D is actually getting aggressed on. There's the Kuang ult, and he's in the air.
Where do they choose to go? Yeah, it looks like he's going to try to take some pressure into the jungle. Still has the dragons active, not quite in time. Oh, man, that damage is pretty crazy. That Polynomicon already was doing 200 damage.
And even though Garz had a great first engagement for First Blood, he hasn't really done anything with it since, especially considering that both of Randozos' lanes, the dual lane and the solo lane, have been getting crushed.
Oh, my. Garz.
And because of both lanes losing so hard, it leads up so many gank opportunities for Homiefe, knowing that he has... You know, he can rely on both his lanes, which really just Garz can't do anything about as they set up for another Goal Fury.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's close enough. Athena not quite in range for this. And as the gesturing on the left side indicates, they were looking for a defense. Wasted farm time for the Randozos and a free Goal Fury for Problem Solved, as well
Baskin.
As the right side. Let's take a look at Baskin.
He's just going to get it for free. There's no sort of defense, and it looks like the Randozos are just rolling over. I mean, really, they just gave up a Goal Fury and a Tier 2 with no signs of defense.
Metyankey doing decent damage to the tower, forcing Meerkat to back again, or rather back flip. That tower already at critical as you see Homiefe start his rotation towards the left side to match PolarBearMike coming over as well.
Yeah, and I want to see a little bit more signs of life out of the Randozos, but at this point, I feel like they've given up a little bit too much with no...
And PBM spending a lot of his gold into Hide of the Urchin.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't see that getting stacked.
Yeah.
I would be surprised to see that get to 5 at the way things have been going for the last 10 minutes. That was cute.
Yeah, I'm maybe realizing that he's not going to get any value.
Wait, he might get one here. PolarBearMike. Block stack is gone, and no, Metyankey real quick on the draw. Mid tower going to go down as well, and another 500 for Problem Solved.
Yeah, no sorts of initiation, no defense coming out of Randozos. Just kind of like letting everything happen, I feel like. No signs of life out of Garz ever since the First Blood. Looks like he's just working on that Deathbringer, but he's been trying to build that thing for a hot minute now, as he is now 2K plus goal behind.
Look at this, right in. He actually chooses the dive. Metyankey still going forward. Meerkat in a bad position. A Sanctuary inside still gets stunned, takes some damage. Garz doesn't quite get what he needs. Is this enough? Yes, this should be a kill. No poison spread, but something that's very important at this stage of the game. And another stack on the Hide of the Urchin for PolarBearMike.
Garz needed that. He needed that reactive gank, realizing that was pretty much clean. Metyankey jumped in, being very aggressive. Metyankey feeling himself a little bit, knowing that he has the upper hand on Meerkat, but it actually cost him his life.
Looks like Boar's going to get taken. Adura will get one and actually level up off of it. Level 16 right now, but still a ways behind Hurriwind at level 18. Over 10,000 gold for him as well. But you'll note 12,000 gold right now for Baskin, and he begins his rotation over.
Looks like some small aggression. PolarBearMike forced below half health on Tier 2 tower. Looks like Problem Solving will look to pressure the Tier 1, especially when they have so much on the map. They can easily take a Tier 1 here.
Speaking of a Tier 1, right side, that one's going to go to Scary D, but he's leaving Baskin Robin to his devices once again. Baskin's going to push into the mid lane. He'll be met by 2.
the trade there is he gets a tier 1, but Problem Solve get red buff and pressure on the tier 1 and the tier 2, and pretty much they can choose whatever they want at this point. As
no, I thought he was going to go for the tier 2. Excuse me. Wait, doubling back in. Metyankey's here to keep it safe, though. Tier 2 will stand. In fact, I probably wouldn't take this fight were I Scary D.
Yeah, he's actually getting destroyed. He's forced to ult out there. Bellona, Scary D, popping the sprint.
You ready for the cute ricochet?
It's going to happen.
You ready?
I believe in Metyankey. He's been playing hot, and the dash.
He actually had the line to that.
Yeah, shout-outs to Bellona shield dash.
Metyankey knows that he might be good here. Got him!
Oh.
Just barely. That was about to go off. Teleport only stopped by 2 things, CC or death.
Yes. And whoa!
Who was that?
I don't know.
Hello? Garz going in after taking that shot into the teleport. A lot of damage. Hurriwind not going to find the spirit gun, and they force out PolarBearMike's ultimate as well.
I love what Hurriwind did there, by the way. Realizing Garz jumping in, reactively, immediately, Janus ults for the CC immunity as well as the damage. He didn't want to like get taunted. He wanted to make sure he could just get the damage off that he needed to. And PolarBearMike forced away yet again. PolarBearMike's been on the back foot, and he hasn't been initiating, and it's really hurting the Randozos. And it really, we haven't talked about Aduro at all, but what has Aduro done this game?
Whoa, he's taken a lot of damage from her. Double stun. Garz not paying attention. Aduro going to be picked up by the Suns.
The setup was beautiful there. The Amaterasu ult right into the Hui ult. Beautiful. And Suns clean up that kill. PolarBearMike forced on his tier 2, just kind of doing nothing.
Not in a great spot as Hurriwind takes down a 1,500 gold tower over in the left side, forcing Garz away as well. PolarBearMike to phase 4, another 1,500 falls, and Problem Solved now has close to 14,000 in the bank.
I mean, at this point, if you're on the Randozos, you're looking, where do we go from here?
Well, let's check Golden Hand here. Only one of them has backed 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, 2,000, 2,000. That's where they went. They went back with somewhere in the neighborhood, let's say 9,000. They had about 13K, maybe closer to 12, considering I rounded up a little bit. So 12,000 gold was just spent. How do you feel?
You're hurting. The F6 button's looking ever so juicy.
Oh, see that right there, that's when the tilt really begins. He's just like, I'm just going to get this camp, guys. I need some experience. And you dash through one of the boars, and you realize that your dash is like level 2. It doesn't do enough damage to kill it. He turns around and just watches it reset. He's like, boys, I think this one's it. Yeah.
Really, if you're on the Randozos, you want to be strategizing for the next game what went wrong. And really, this is kind of like a lane domination on top of great jungle presence out of Homiefe. Homiefe was able to abuse both lanes, but really Baskin and Metyankey kind of manhandled both their lanes.
Baskin's overcapped on CDR by like 15%, and I'm just going to throw myself into a fire.
Ooh.
The Mantle of Discord, I mean, it gives you a lot of protections, but this should just be a Hide of the Urchin if that's what you wanted.
Yeah, I think he's mostly using it for the passive, right?
See, that's why I was questioning the Jotuns earlier on.
If we only knew what he wanted to go into beforehand, maybe, but...
So he should sell the Jotuns at this point.
Or the breastplate.
Or yeah, maybe sell the breastplate. Big Guardian Mail's about to come up. Oh my god, Scary D is just getting ran down. That Fatalis from Metyankey doing so much work. Tell us a little bit about the Fatalis. We know that you've been a big proponent of this item in the past.
With his build right now, especially, you want more attack speed for the Kins, obviously. And it looks like he's just kind of like feeling himself. I mean, a lot of pen coming out of the Aussie and the Igval, right?
Can we actually hover on Metyankey just so we can see some of his stats here?
So, yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think... He could have went for, like, a Titan's Bane, but I don't think he needs any more penetration. I think Metyankey just kind of swag out. Really, Randozos, they haven't really done anything besides, like, the one gank attempt where he jumped into, like, 2 people. So.
Baskin finds himself against 3. Cobra's Kiss and the Agni Stun have been used. He's blocked out. Mantle of Discord winds up coming to his safety.
That was good.
That was worth.
Yeah, it's like a mini Gebel.
It is kind of like a mini Gebel. Yeah. Or it's just like Fist of the Gods, which is the same animation.
Yeah, pretty much. So able to kind of back away there. Problem solved. Definitely going to be looking for a Fire Giant skirmish very soon. They're all grouped up, ready for it. I would like to see PolarBearMike get a great taunt. I mean, they had a couple of targets just blow some beads, blow some actives. There you go.
Yeah,
that's exactly
that was
what
a big deal.
They like... As much as like it's only a one-person taunt, you need to be blowing these relics off these gods, especially even if you're down 20k, you got to show some signs of life. You can't just roll over and take it.
With Janus's beads being down, he's going to be relying almost strictly on movement and Sanctuary to get him out of danger. Then again, Jigz, of course, has heals, has Meditation and Shell available to him. Janus still not a target that will fall very easily. Homiefe to the back line to fight against PolarBearMike. Dashes away, should be fine. And for some reason, no one seems to care. The problem solved is taking the Fire Giant.
I mean, it was great by PolarBearMike, right? He was popping relics, but everyone else on his team was like, well, they can't be doing FG, right?
Uh-oh.
As Aduro's actually in a tight spot, taking 2 ults to the dome. Great Sanctuary, though, mitigating a lot of that damage. And there's the weakening. Metyankey picks up Scary D, and in the air, Homiefe,
Got him.
Dragon Form
Oh
lands
my God.
on Aduro.
How much damage was that?
Enough.
Enough.
So it looks like all the Phoenix are going to get taken out here for problem solved, and PolarBearMike just going to die.
Rush down, tons of damage. A very almost perfectly drafted comp here from Problem Solves finds not only an insane gold lead, almost to the tune of 20,000, which might be the scenario before they end the game out, but finds the first win in a set with relegations for SPL on the line. 4 of them, 5 of them now will move over towards the left side with 2 facing on Randozos to clean up the birds.
And not too much Randozos can do. At this point, they just have to strategize.
Woo! He got the Sanctuary? Oh my goodness.
For a jump in, too.
Yeah, he just jumped in on Neith and Serqet. Not only got away with full health, but took a Sanctuary, took a relic. Like,
that's a big deal.
Sheepers.
So Problem Solved don't want to push the Titan. They're actually going to take all 3 Phoenixes safely back.
There's another 3,000 gold in hand for Homiefe.
They just want to finish their items. I mean, they're practically full build. There's the Soul Reavers, I would imagine, coming out last item for Hurriwind and Homiefe.
So look at this. He's got the Poly Soul Reaver build online. Like, God forbid he walks at you and hits you with his 3. It's going to be 1,200 damage.
We actually didn't touch on this at all, but it worked out because of the slow-paced early game coming out of both teams. Homiefe went for a Doom Orb first. I don't know if you caught that.
I think he went Boots and went back to the Doom Orb.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He boots and immediately finished Doom Orb and was stacking that, which is probably why you saw such a very non-aggressive...
Oh, Spirit Gun! Nowhere to go! Aduro locked down and erased. The dropship's going to bring them right into the base. Homiefe is looking to just clean somebody's clock right now, and it's going to be over on the left side. Scary D out of position.
He had no idea that was coming to him either, as we do have the Athena ult coming on to Scary D. Forcing, he probably didn't even need to do that, but Scary D going back up here. 4v5 trying to defend the Titan. 3 Phoenixes down. Randozos in such a tight spot. There's the Baskin ult. Hui is going to rain the Suns down, and the Titan should be going down here for problem solved.
Oh, yeah, look at this. PBM trying to fight against 2. Metyankey very focused on the Titan. First game in the books as problem solves run through it in less than a half hour. Randozos on the back foot have to change the strategy up.
Oh, what do you change there? I mean, both lanes got really just destroyed. As much as I want to say Homiefe did great jungle pressure, and he did what he had to do, really Baskin had the upper hand on Scary D, right?
Which is weird because, I mean, granted, Ami's endgame is a little bit better than Bellona, but, I mean, Baskin had less gold, less experience, and still won the lane. Speaking of Baskin, here he is. Lead us through this.
So Baskin dashes in, looking for slight poke, slight pressure. There's the disengagement. Attacking the blue buff, and really the big turn of this team fight here was the overextension of Randozos in the mid lane. But yeah, it looks like this is kind of extended as Baskin's going to come in here and is going to look for the lockdown on Meerkat. Notice as Meerkat ran out of position. This is what we're talking about. Scary D was getting focused in the backline by the Hui stuns and the Mark of the Crow, but Baskin comes in and just takes the ult, the free ult with the Heavenly Reflection here. The combination was more than enough to kill Meerkat.
And look at this. They even turn around to try to stop him. He goes back under the base with the taunt, able to keep healing himself, walk away, keeping Jigz safe. Garz getting a little bit aggressive here. You notice he immediately starts the auto attacks. Heavenly Reflection for the kill and the soft double as well.